Well, would you look at that? It's another headphone video. Great. Hey everybody, Zeos Pantera here, and these are the ISK HF2010s. If you watched the last video I made,
and if you haven't, please do, because I really need the views,
you might see a slight resemblance between these and the HP 8500s, and there's a good reason for that. These are essentially the same thing, and yet not really. Now, due to legal reasons, I can no longer call things clones. Instead, I'm going to refer to them as inspired copies. And these headphones are very much an inspired copy of the Beyerdynamic DT880s. And they only cost 38 euros. They any good? The short answer is yes. But I know that's not satisfying, so let's continue. In terms of comfort alone, these are actually pretty good. They've got very nice soft pads, and they're not very heavy. However, the fact that they're not heavy comes from the fact that they're built like absolute garbage. The material here feels like melted down bootleg Chinese toys. So far, I haven't really been able to break them, and I do tend to mistreat my headphones a little bit from time to time. The cable is not detachable. And that kind of bothers me, because it's a long-ass fucking cable. And not a particularly nice feeling one. Feels like I could snap this thing on a cold day, but again, haven't broken it yet. Okay, so they're not the greatest thing in the world in terms of build quality or but let's focus on the more important aspect, the sound. Looking at the frequency response graph of these headphones, they seem quite a bit more neutral in the bass region than their closed-back counterparts, and I would tend to agree. Up until the treble region, they're actually fairly neutral and quite smooth. Not as smooth as Beyerdynamics, but smooth nonetheless. As for the treble area itself, I can't say it's all bad either. Sure, it might look a little bit spiky and piercing, but the more appropriate terms would be sparkly, airy, and revealing. And that's why I still have these headphones. You see, I'm a studio guy. I have a nice little project studio here in the Congo. I record and mix music, and I need my sources to be relatively flat. That's why I mix on Neumann KH120 monitors and Sennheiser 58X Jubilees. They're neutral, and I can trust them. They translate into the real world. However, there comes a time in every producer's life where we need to look beyond neutrality and get very analytical. That's why Beyerdynamics are popular in the first place. Sure, they're not the flattest sounding headphones, but they are going to help you hear little nuances and details in a very critical part of your mix that you're just not going to hear on neutral sources. And that's why I still have the ISK 2010s. They help me hear resonating frequencies that I can EQ out. They help me with microphone selection if a singer's voice or an instrument is sounding too thin. Hell, the soundstage on these things is really good, and it helps me with panning things like my drums, my reverb and delay effects and whatnot. In my last video, I mentioned that I would not mix through headphones, and that point still stands. I am probably never going to mix primarily on the ISK 2010s, but they are a tool that helps me track down issues plenty of times, and they've earned a spot in my studio. As for things like gaming or listening to music or whatever casual shit you normies do, yeah, they're perfectly fine for that as well. Bottom line, these and these are probably the best headphones in the sub $50 range. I still own quite a few headphones, some of which cost even more than these do. And really nowadays, they're only really used when people have band practice in here. If you're consisting on a diet of ramen and grass, and you're a poor piece of shit, these headphones should do you just fine.
Here we go. Hey, thanks for watching this fucking video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll probably reply to it because I have no life or friends. If you found the video useful, hit that motherfucking like button like it undercooked your fucking dinner. And if you enjoyed this fucking video and want to see more like it, please subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for gear I should review in the future, leave it in the comments as well. I'm out!